and welcome to Rockin the Love. I'm Robyn.
And I'm Gil, and we are so happy you've joined us today, this Wednesday, the first Wednesday in February 2023. Can you believe it?
It's craziness. Oh, and my dog agrees.
So good. So good. Wow. Well, so what are we doing today? Are we going to have some fun?
That would be good.
Okay, let's do that.
That would be good. I'm excited it's February. February is a good month.
It is. Why is that?
It's short, it's quick, it's to the point.
And what else?
No, how many. Okay. It's you never know how many days they're gonna be, when you're gonna get a leap year.
Okay.
Okay.
Very confusing.
Okay, you're gonna have to talk
and it's your birthday. It's Robyn's birthday month. So we get to celebrate that, which I know is part of why she says she loves February so much. So we've been talking about our theme of the year being living out loud. And so moving into February, we said, well, I think we should love out loud. And today we're going to talk about how we love our stuff. So our title is You've Got to Move It, Move It. And we'll share a little bit about that. We have a guest with us, someone who you've probably seen if you've paid attention to us in the past. And we're excited to get a chance to hang out. How's the dog doing? She's still barking?
Dog's fine. Okay, good. So
good.
She got excited. So all of that is good. So yeah, you've got to move it. It just has so many meanings. So why don't you start us off, Gil? How was your week?
Oh, my week was fantastic. I was able to get out of bed this morning, which was a good sign since I moved everything yesterday. Thank goodness I had a couple of people that stepped up and were totally willing to help. In more ways than one. And my new place is not quite ready for me, so we had to move everything out and put it into storage for a minute. And you know what? I discovered that even though I had everything packed in boxes, it was way more stuff than I thought I had.
Oh my God. Right? Isn't that weird? It's kind of like when you're cleaning the house or washing dishes and more just show up. It's like when you're moving, it's like stuff just comes out. Right?
Yep. It was weird. It was really strange. It like, it was kind of piled around. So, but then we started filling the truck. It's like, why is this thing filling up so fast? What's going on?
Yeah. So this was part of the reason we came up with the idea of stuff. Because we have so much stuff we have that we're attached to. That we have to pack in those boxes and make sure it doesn't break and put into storage or we won't see it.
And we have physical stuff and we have emotional stuff and we have all kinds of stuff that we insist on carrying around with us.
Yeah. It is an interesting process. So we figured the month of February, since it's all about love, that there needs to be some release as well and letting go of the things that hold us down, letting go of some of our things, whether it's an old idea or whether it's, pants that don't fit anymore, that you're going to grow into that size, down to that size, or whatever it is, or that you keep in case you go up another pound. We have so many stories around us.
Yes, it's all about the story, isn't it? It's all about
the story.
It's all about what we decide, and that's the thing about stuff is where's the meaning? Well, why do we need it? Because we've given it some kind of something, and therefore it represents that now.
Right.
which is a little bit crazy when you think about it. Well, a little
It
bit.
is crazy, but let's save this for John.
Okay. Okay. Because he's gonna have a lot to say about stuff. We know him. Are you stopped in your tracks? What happened?
Well, I don't know what that means, but okay. So, how was my week? You ask. It was
Yes.
good. It was a lot. I feel like eh, something happens in January. And maybe you all are familiar with it, like the January. You're like getting organized, and really trying to figure out your schedule and how you do what you do, or this is what I do anyway. And so I've come up with a schedule and things, and even though I don't stick to the schedule, I'm much more I'm much more organized. So so it's been good. I mean, I feel like I've spent my time efficiently. Um, had a good time last night, went out with friends. John was there as well. And just but balancing that with having been kind of, what do you call it when you hold back? That's a question.
I know, and I'm thinking it means holding back. I think is what that is, right? I don't know, I'm not sure what you mean.
Thanks, that's helpful.
You're
Okay.
welcome. Anytime. Just call me. Actually, you can text. It's fine.
And we have our astute observer out there, and she has a name this week. Myrna says, Rev Gil, you had hairs.
Yes, and I got like 3 or 4 of them cut, Myrna. They're gone now. You should have seen the gray that was on the cape. It was like snow had fallen again.
Yes, so for those of you joining for the first time, we finally got him to get a haircut.
Yeah, it happens. So when you started that about the week, what I wanted to bring up was, interestingly, both you and I had a reaction, when I was leaving last night for the last time. So, the place was a place becomes part of our stuff in a way,
Right,
right?
right.
I mean, it was like this we had some feelings about it, and a little bit of sadness, and obviously a lot of gratitude, and thanksgiving for having been there, and for our friend Talia and her support and all of that. But still, you drive away and you go, oh, that's not going to be where I go anymore.
Well, it's true. And again, I was saving it for with John because I think that also, yeah, I was thinking about, like, even when you buy a new car or something, you have to give up your old car. I mean, all of
Right,
that. So we'll,
right.
we'll we'll come back to that. But first,
Okay.
let's go to the good news.
The good
Good
news.
news of the week. So much goes on in the world that we notice as not good or bad or unhappy.
Yes.
So we like to find what's good in the world because there's so much good. There's so much good. We just don't always get a chance to hear about it. So, what did you find out?
What did I find out? Well, I don't know. This may sound insignificant, but there was a sighting of a pod of dolphins in the Bronx River in New York. Now, this is after decades of cleaning things up. And I don't know how many of you remember this. And I see some of these shows that back in, late 60s, early 70s, you could light these rivers on fire because they had so much crap in them. And we've actually, all of our environmental work has paid off. We're actually beginning to see the resurgence of healthy animals and healthy streams and healthy rivers and healthy water. And yeah, I think we're not perfect, but it's great to know that actually it pays off in the long run. So I thought that was really cool. You like
That
that
is,
one?
I
Yeah.
do like that one, but it's a little scary because I also read a good news about a group of biochemists and people, just general people, who made a human link in Florida so that a dolphin didn't go into the canal. So it kind of troubles me that dolphins are in the river because that's not where they belong.
Well, there
And
are freshwater dolphins, so I don't know what the deal is.
but I mean, yes, I think that what you're saying is great, but I just worry about the dolphins because what happens when they go into those environments is they start to learn not how not to fend for themselves, and it's a different level of taking care of yourself if
Right.
that's so that yeah. Anyway, so I'm not speculating on that. It's good news today. It's good news. My good news, you ask, is that they are making a Barbie doll of adventurous women, and they are making a Barbie doll of Bessie Coleman, who was
Oh.
a brave Black woman who became a pilot in the 1920s and even walked on the wings of her airplanes. And so she's the latest superhero. And
I've done that.
To be honored. Yeah, but she wasn't drinking. To be honored in the Barbie doll series featuring inspiring women. And so I think that's super cool.
Again, decades of effort, and we're finally seeing some movement.
Yeah.
In the midst of it. That's so cool. Okay, I have another one.
Okay.
I have another one. This kid, 15 years old, goes to a new high school, and he has one of his hands that's basically not developed at all. It's just like a club. And when he first gets there, he wants to hide it because it's just such a hassle to explain to people and all that stuff. But of course, someone noticed it. And so the engineering class at the high school got together and they said, "Oh, we can help." And they built him a prosthetic hand. And now this kid has a hand. He's actually able to catch a baseball in this prosthetic hand.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible? High school engineering students.
Yeah, that's incredible on many levels.
On many levels. And that, in essence, the love that they showed in doing that, taking their time to do that. And then all of the brilliance that shows up in that. So
yeah, and what's beautiful about that too is that that's why we're here. That's what this show is about. It's about relationships and who we really are, who we truly are, and the power of who we can be.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to go to a break for a quick moment. I'm going to let the dog out, and we'll be right back here on New Thought Media Network.
back, everybody. I just stepped on Robyn. This is Gil,
And I'm Robyn.
and we are here on Rockin the Love today. And just want a couple reminders, please. Let us know you're out there. Uh, uh, Subscribe to our stuff on YouTube and Facebook, and chat. Ask us questions. Do what you need to do. And I do want to point out, Robyn, that Myrna called you on something about your week.
Well, I'll fix Myrna. Yes, we did have a fantastic, sensational Saturday. And for those of you that don't know, that is something that we do as practitioners in Center for Spiritual Living Movement, where we bring things to inspire other practitioners. So we got a chance to be with Reverend Jeffrey, and he is just leaving being the chair of the visioning committee or whatever council, and he did visioning with us, and it was great. It was great. It's so
All
great
right.
as a group of practitioners anyway to be together, and so it's always really inspiring. And the other big event of the week was Myrna's birthday.
Oh.
So there. Take that. Those of you that don't know, Myrna was our guest recently, and you will be hearing from her on New Thought Media Network. So keep your eyes open for that. But now it's our time to introduce our friend and a very talented individual in his own right, Mr. John Chastain.
Hey, John.
Hi.
How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
It's so good to be on the show. And hello to both of you, my dear friends.
So we thought it would be great to just have a friendly chat with friends. I mean, among people, the people that are in our tribe and that we interact with all the time, about our relationship to our things, our relationship to stuff, our relationships. Because, this is a show about relationships and how we're in relationship with everything. And so, but this month, we thought about really, in order to live into our theme of the month, which is loving out loud, sometimes you have to let go of stuff. And you've got to move it, whether it's physically to another place or just out the door. I mean, you've got to shift it. So how does that ring for you all?
Okay. Well, John, let me say something. The first thing that came to my mind when I knew you were going to be here was your love of estate sales.
Oh.
And I was thinking about, the stuff, all the stuff and the stuff that you get and the stuff that you see. Just talk a little bit about what it's like going to these estate sales and looking around and what about the stuff?
Well, thank you for mentioning that. That is something that I love doing. I really enjoy doing. My mom got me into it. It's been a while. It's probably been a decade or so. She's always loved to go to garage sales. And then 10 or 15 years ago, she started going to these little estate sales. And at first, I'd go with her sometimes when I'd see her. And somehow we got a hold of this lady that runs them. And now she's a dear friend of mine, Kathy Pimpan. And she has total estate liquidation. You can look it up and join her feed here in the Bay Area, California Bay Area. And she finds the most amazing places. I live pretty close to Berkeley. I don't know how many people are from California on the watching, but we have a lot of professors here. And I love a good professor's home. And it's interesting because when I go, my spirit tells me these are people's homes. These are things that they probably loved. By the time the estate sale opens, a lot of the papers and little detritus and things that you normally, broken things, they're gone. They've kind of gone through the house and set it up and put things out. And I was backstage here looking around our living room. I've moved in with my parents. My mom has dementia and needs round the clock care, basically. And I retired earlier to help her. And for the last few years, I've been going to the estate sales, and I'm just looking at all these beautiful things that I love. And I look for unusual handmade things, artistic things, colorful things. I'm like a little raven. I pick these things up and I bring them home and put them around the house. Now, after a point, my dad said, "Are you going to still be bringing more stuff home?" We have quite a few precious items, and so lately, the last year or so, I've been saying it's a bit too much for a home. It's looking kind of cluttered and feeling like too much. So that's a process of there's a process of taking in, and this is even in the Bible, so there's a time for every season under heaven, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It was even made into that beautiful song in the 60s. And I kind of use that motto of, do I really love it? Or is this something somebody else would really love? And if it's something somebody else would really love, I think, Robyn, I know you, and sometimes maybe Gil, I've gifted things from estate sales that it's like, okay, I picked this up, but I'm not loving it. And I know Robyn loves this color. So I release it. And then there's also some items I get that are useful, but the 3-way cheese grater, I don't use. In fact, I went over to a friend's house yesterday to gift her a book, early Valentine's present. Gift people books for Valentine's people. And she said she was bummed and she was glad to receive a hard book to read because her Kindle broke and she has to go out and get a new Kindle. And, a few years ago, I wouldn't have done this, but my brother from Texas sent my mom a Kindle a few years back when she was still reading. She never took to it. We don't use it. My dad found it and he said, she can't, because of her dementia, she can no longer read.
Right.
And he said, I don't use it. It's worth, I don't know what $100 or $200, some money. And I would have thought, it's worth money. Don't ever get rid of it. Don't get rid of it. It's worth money. And or sell it on eBay and I really haven't done those things. And so I was standing there on her porch talking to her and I said, Brenda, I can just give you this Kindle. It's practically brand new. My brother sent it from Texas. We're not using it. And I felt that little tug of my old self. You're giving away something that's worth money. And I was like, yes, I am. And here's where some science of mind comes in. Because if we're all one, then I'm just sharing it with another part of our human family. That's part of it. And, Brenda is a beautiful person. And she's just a lovely lady and she cares about the planet and she's ecological. And there are many reasons I call her a friend. And I've known her for a gazillion years. And she just lit up and I was like, oh, and you can tell I'm a very kind of effusive person. So I lit up and I was like, oh, I'm going to drop that by and remind me. And, and it was like, that's the right thing to do. And
So I think, John, you are the type of person who you have a reserve of stuff.
Yes.
To make, but you use it. It's like a store for you. You use it to make people happy. And some say that the act of wanting and the idea of owning stuff is actually what creates our joyous emotions around our stuff. So sometimes I think even just having it, knowing it's there, and then you're able to give it away has made it valuable, more valuable than the $100 you would have got or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think it's I think that's interesting.
I do too, Robyn. And it's that joy. I think that if we can do things in our life with our stuff that brings joy, yay. Yeah, and it just, like I said, she just lit up, and it's reminding me that I do need to find that. And 1 second, I'm gonna write down Brenda.
So you don't forget.
Yeah, and you know, I've given away little art things. It was interesting because somebody had made me a scarf. And we went through our coat closet because my mom liked a lot of clothes. And we find that now with her different life, there's a lot of outerwear and stuff. We picked a few things that will really serve her going for little teeny walks, being here in the home. And one area we wanted to clean out was this coat closet under the stairs. And I had put in there a handmade scarf. Somebody knitted it, and it's beautiful. I don't wear it, and I had kept putting it back in there. And I think it was Reverend Joan that hit me to this idea, and I want to say it's Buddhist. I don't know if anybody's heard of this, but in having a lot of stuff, I picked up this philosophy where she had said, you either love it, use it, or cherish it as an art object, or get rid of it, give it to someone, gift it, or sell it, or donate it, or, you know, if it's broken or whatever, throw it away. And so I thought, this is not being used. This handmade scarf is not being loved. And it took a little journey to different people. And it was interesting because some of the people that I offered it to, well, I offered it and I said, I really want this loved. It was made with love for me. However, I'm not cherishing it by using it. And so they got it. And I said, please say no if you don't think you would use it. And it was really long. And people said, yes, we hear you. And so, no, I wouldn't like it. And I kept trying. And I said, don't stop. Keep trying. And I went to the library, and I love the library and I love the librarians. And one of the librarians, Paul, who's a very sweet friend of mine, said, I will get this at home. Either I will wear it, or they have a lot of community that comes in there. And he said they have a lot of elders. And he said, I'll make sure that somebody gets it who will use it. And I trust Paul and I love Paul. And I thought that he gets it. It needs a home.
Yeah. I think it's important. And I think nowadays people are more aware of things, like wanting to live a simpler life and wanting to, you know, not have tchotchkes up on a mantle, or what am I going to do with the tchotchkes, you know? And I know where I get stuck a lot of the times is I'm like, oh, but so-and-so gave that to me, you know, all that. And I remember, see, here's the difference between Gil and I. I remember all of that. Gil has the benefit and the pleasure of not remembering. And so he'll be like, yeah, I don't know where that came from. You know, I'm like, oh my God, I got that when I was going into the hospital and so. I still know who gave us our wedding presents from 20 years ago, you know? So I'm like so attached to the story and the history of it.
Of the thing, not so much the thing. It's the story, and without the thing, the story goes away somehow.
Yeah,
or at least that's the thought.
Right, and that's that's what they talk about in all the articles, is that we have somehow attached it to the memory. as if the memory will go away, which is so, I mean, that's somewhat true. That's like when we used to have, photos under the bed in a shoebox, and you'd look through the old photo box and then you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that. Right. And now they're, on your phone and in a cloud somewhere. And every now and then you see some and you're like, oh, that's good. So, I mean, part of it's true, right? Okay. So Sherry, welcome Sherry out there. She said so many things. She says, yes, I have released so many things. I am releasing. Less is more is my new motto. It's peace space in my mind with less.
Space for peace in your mind if you don't have as much stuff cluttering.
Yeah, yeah.
I think is what you mean, Sherry. And that's great.
And Myrna's not going to throw away the puzzle that we sent her son.
Well, that's good, Myrna, because if it came from us, you got to keep it.
And we won't let you forget us if you do. So, yeah, but I mean, it's true. But Myrna's talking about her son who is 5, 4. How old did he just turn? Anyway, young, and he that with our kids. I mean, we hold on to those memories, and here's their first drawings, and here's their first steps, and then they move out of the house and get married, and they don't want their stuff. They're not interested in that, but we're like, oh, but that's from when we first went to Disneyland, and that's from when,
How long have we tripped over that basket with children's books in our closet area from my kids when they were little, who are now all married and late 20s, 30s.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't care for sure, and we didn't know what to do with them, but I couldn't get rid of them.
Right. and Sherry says the question is it serving a purpose? If not, share it with someone else who may love it.
I love that. Yeah, I love that, Sherry.
Well, and that's like what's her name? Marie Kondo? Marie.
Yeah.
Like when she has you cleaning out your closets and she goes through it, if you don't love it, you don't keep it.
I believe it's, does it bring you joy?
Yeah, that's right.
And in moving forward as people, this person, John in particular, I loved being introduced to Science of Mind and going to hear different speakers, Reverend Gil, Reverend Joan. I've heard Robyn speak many times. I used to do a Wednesday evening service, and Robyn and I had fun on that, and spoke. And the practicality of let's see, clutter has come up here in a couple of comments of like clutter clearing or releasing or having what you love. Sherry says, yes. Does it bring you joy? And the other, I don't know how to put it, turn around or look at is, what if it's an inside job? And what if treatment? We have Gil gives wonderful treatments. And so I learned, I'm like, instead of, because I'll go into a room and I'll say, this room needs help. And so maybe I'm prayerful, or maybe I do a treatment and have spirit guide me in that spirit part, because my higher self knows what I should have in my home to make it a loving space. My higher self can say, okay. And I feel like that deeper treatment process, it also really helps me to anchor, because I can have anxiety when it's time to clear or give away, or it's like, oh, and spirit goes, okay, let's release that, because part of your treatment is releasing that anxiety and you're releasing anything that's no longer serving you. So some clutter or some stuff that you may have really used, it's time.
Yeah.
You're ready to let go of that.
Yeah, you reminded me, John, of, we have boxes of tapes. I have boxes of tapes from leadership stuff, and, I don't even have a way to play them. Um,
Yeah.
I just kind of look at them and turn them, and nothing happens. But they're still there. And you reminded me when you talked about that the book. If it doesn't bring you joy, get rid of it. And the story of the person that said, "Yeah, so I threw out the book." So. So, I mean, we do get really attached, really in love with our stuff. Um, and I think it's a process. It's part of the growing thing where I feel less and less like I need to hang on to that, you know?
I saw a sign that reminded me of you. It said, I can only play one guitar at a time, but I own 13.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of Gil because he owns pretty much 13 bikes. You know,
Yeah.
I can only ride one bike at a time. I mean, and you have a reason. I know you don't have to explain it. There's reasons. There's reasons we own many different.
Cars.
Like it's like when men ask women. I'm generalizing. Yes, when men ask women, why do you own so many black dresses? We're women. We need little black dresses. We need different styles. So yeah, I mean, we have those reasons. Um, yeah, I also read another article that was really interesting about a woman who wore the same dress for a year and did a blog every day, and the university did a study of it, and it was about our relationship with our stuff is mutual. And so it talked about how not only did she rely on the dress, but the dress relied on her to be washed and to be mended and to be accessorized and all of those things. So it's saying we not only have a relationship with our stuff, but our stuff has a relationship with us.
That's very metaphysical. Now we're getting into it's all one, and then now, okay, well now I can't obviously throw stuff away because then I'll feel guilty. I mean, how that stuff's been relying on me to take care of it all this time, and here I go. You
Okay,
know?
Sherry says I still have several purses after giving away lots and lots of them, and I only carry one. I'm working on it. Yeah, purses, me too. But see, I'm going to tell you. Okay, this is really getting out there, but that's my whole challenge because ever since I was a kid, I literally I would cry when I had to give stuff away, or I would cry when I threw away a Kleenex because I thought I was hurting the Kleenex. I was like, I'm sorry. I would talk to them and throw, like, I felt that way with like everything I throw away or I didn't include in something. And I swear to you, it wasn't until I walked into a metaphysical church, into Agape, that I was like, and he was talking about, well, you feel things when you're touching a piece of paper that's come from a tree that's been cut down. I was like, oh my God, my whole life explained in like a couple of sentences. So yeah, I mean, I could see if you go to the really metaphysical side, how our stuff has that kind of meaning to us as well.
Robyn, you're making me think of this book I just read. And if you're watching, please get a pen and a piece of paper. This is a wonderful book written by a wonderful woman. And I'll explain how it ties into what you're saying about things and living and being one. And her name is, she was our poet laureate for 3 years. She's Native American woman, highly educated teacher, and her poetry is wonderful. This is her latest book, and it's called Poet Warrior. Poetwarrior. I get that from my mom. I spell things out. And her name is Joy Harjo, Harjo. And it was so beautiful that I read it in one evening, 220 something pages. Just, I was up late, but and it was worth it because I felt like in the Native American communities that there we go. Thank you. This is an exceptional book. It's one of the best books I've read in the last 5 years. And just her way, she has a way of putting on the page how she's feeling, where her consciousness is at. And she talks about the aliveness of animals, of plants, of things. She talks about her grandmother or great grandmother's cooking pot that was handed down through the generations. The one thing that she took from her mother's home when her mother passed. And you just feel this. And so I get it when you're saying, I would say to the Kleenex, which is made out of trees, which it is. And it's important that we realize we're taking things that are alive and growing and making them into things. So it makes us conscious. Maybe we ought to walk carefully and tread carefully and use carefully. And so if you're a compassionate person, and Robyn, knowing you, that makes a lot of sense. That's just you and your love of the universe. And if we all did that, maybe as we're circulating or giving away or sharing, it will be very purposeful. And we could be giving things that are allowing others not to purchase, save some costs, not to just go in the landfill. I remember when I was very young, I was in my early 20s, and I helped a friend move. And he was wonderful and creative. He was a great friend. But when it came time to move, he had this, he just gave me armfuls of practically new stuff. And he said, take it to the dumpster, take it to the dumpster. You live in an apartment building. And he threw out a new mop and a new mop bucket. And he said, I just can't. And my mom raised me to use everything, be thrifty. We were very, I won't say low income, but we put everything we had into our having an actual home and not renting. And so we had very little for extras. And this guy just threw away all this stuff we had just bought. I was his really good friend. And I was like, he goes, what am I supposed to, blah, 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 blah. Just throw it away. And it was going in the dumpster, not even by the side of it. And this was in the 80s. And it was back when you didn't put things out for free and didn't do that. And how much stuff has gone in landfill. And if you've done it, that's okay. The one other point I want to make, because I know we are getting down to the end, that I really, really wanted to make was that I know I don't know if anyone else has ever suffered feelings of beating yourself up for having too much stuff. Say, oh, you're a clutterer. La, 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 la. You suck. I've done enough of that. And I remember Louise Hay, I bought her tape, and I was listening to it in the car. And she's talking about loving yourself. I'm like, oh, girl, let's get into that because we need to learn that lesson. There were really areas where I did not love myself.
Mm-hmm.
Said, what if you were okay where you're at?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, excuse me? What? I was like, excuse me? She said, what if you're okay where you're at? And I was like, girl. And she said, yeah, if we're okay where we're at, then we can make changes and then we can move forward.
Right.
And that, Gil, I have to tell you, I don't know how many times I listened to that woman in that Loving Yourself CD. I was like, oh, I need to hear this again. She said, what if you're okay where you're at? I'm like, I was stunned for the first 6 times. I was like, and so I really want to say, what if we're okay where we're at with all our stuff? What if we're really cool where we're at? Because we are. You are out there. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. And we're okay. And if we got too much stuff, let's start treating for it and let's start praying over it and have some movement. But it was just so wonderful. I just want to say that because I know when I did the other way of beating myself up, of saying negative things, of letting people come to my home and say, oh, you did la 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 la. because they were just external manifestations of that negative thinking I was having.
Yep. Well, that's part of it. When we get attached, it's in part because we feel like we're missing something. Um, my whole move this week is fascinating because I didn't get into my new place, and I didn't get into it because it's actually, I'm dealing with the children of someone who's made their transition, and actually it's been a couple of years now. But all this stuff that she held precious is in this house, and we're trying to unload it. They're trying to get it out, and she was a hoarder, so there's a lot of stuff. But it's interesting, like Myrna commented, someone's clutter is someone's precious memory, and you walk in there and you think, oh my God, this is insane, but somehow it worked for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at the same time, what does it really matter? I mean, once she's gone, it just goes. It's going to Goodwill, it's going to the dumpster, it's going to storage so they can look at it later. It's just going,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And it's not about really making anything bad or wrong. It's more just about letting go and creating movement and opening up to what you want to create in your life. So it's not meant to make anyone feel bad as much as it's about changing your relationship with stuff, and maybe also having a different view in the future, because I think that like going forward, sometimes we're like, I know when I think about all the stuff in my garage, I'm pretty sure I don't want to accumulate more. Does that stop me from doing it? Not always, because sometimes, like Sherry said, I want that new purse, or I want something. And then I'm like, use these old purses, but someday I might. And sometimes that's true, but is it valuable enough to me to hold on to it?
Right.
And the other side of that, I just want to say, because we really do need to roll it along. The other side to that is when I do, there's always space for more to come in. There's
circulation
always shows up. Yeah, circulate
it, baby. This is the year of circulation.
And
well, not only
go
ahead. I was going to say not only that, but energy. We say everything's energy, and we know that's true. And if all of our energy is taken up by hanging on to things, then how can we make space for the energy to flow in our lives?
Right. Right. Yes. And I want to take 1 second, because Robyn, I've always loved your non-judgy. You've helped me so much, and where you've really helped me is judging other people, not so much things. But I was like, oh, Robyn, I have to tell you, blah, 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 because I'm judging that person, the way they did it. And you'll just sit there and you'll go, huh, that's an interesting way to do that. And I'm like, what did you? And this body, this consciousness, John consciousness, has been real judgy. And I remember too, on that same tape I was telling you about Louise Hayes, How to Love Yourself. She said, rule number 1. And she said, if you get this rule, you don't need all the others, because it was 10 rules. She said, stop judging yourself. Yeah. And I had to listen to that about 9 gazillion times. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I was in the space that I could hear it. I was like, John, you're a big old judger. Judge me. Oh, if you walk by on the street, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to judge you. I'm going to sit down and give you a number right now. And that's it. It's like, don't judge yourself. Just have some circulation and some movement. Yeah. So, so I appreciate that.
It's a really good point, because I think we also hold on to that's some of the stuff we're talking about. Even the stuff in our heads, our ideas of how it should look, how it should be, how someone should do something.
Energy.
All of that is about, can we shake that up and get past that. And all right, Myrna, for the last several years, I've made a commitment to clean my house during the spring and release things. It feels good, specifically knowing that it served its purpose and now it can go and serve someone else and just throw it in the trash. Spring cleaning.
Spring cleaning. That's great.
Yeah.
Who's that,
Somehow
Myrna?
spring never comes. I don't know.
Not in our garage, it doesn't.
Myrna,
So
I thank you,
I
Myrna.
wanted to comment on Sherry. Read Sherry's comment. Just because I really appreciate it. That she says, time always goes by so quickly. I appreciate you, Robyn and Gil, holding space for these types of conversations. And I just want to say thank you, because that's Rockin the Love is just an opportunity to be in conversation and to learn from one another and to really think about, where is my energy going in terms of relationship, and how am I doing that? And am I judging everyone else and trying to make them like me, or whatever it is, and to do it in a loving, compassionate space. So thank you, Sherry, for pointing that out.
Oh, Sherry, you got a cute little photo there, hon.
Oh yeah, she does.
Her little photo. Thank you.
So don't get rid of that, Sherry.
And I like the. Yeah, I was gonna say I like the fact that somebody called you out, Sherry, on your shoe collection. So I thought that was.
Oh, Sherry,
kind of fun.
Melda's got you beat on the shoes.
Okay. So I just want to leave people with a couple of tips that we won't go into, but I just want to go over them, because we know that as we accumulate stuff, it has the power to either support us or to drain us and enhance our lives or complicate them. But it's just stuff. So some of the tips I found said, rethink the stuff in your home. When you walk through the door, is it inspiring? How do you feel? Are you comforted and at ease, or are you stifled and on edge kind of feeling? And just check out how you feel in your physical surroundings. And you can evaluate that. Who knows? Maybe tweak a few things, get rid of something, even maybe just move things around. Who knows? Then people were talking about, give the gift of experiences instead of new toys or books, or sorry, not books, John. I know you love giving books, but stuff instead of stuff. Give the gift of experience, like a coffee date or doing something fun with somebody, going to the movies, or whatever we do these days instead of COVID. And then also focus on appreciation and not ownership. If we love it in a store, we don't have to buy it. We can love it from afar. We can loosen our association between our appreciation and ownership of something.
Yeah.
And
that's a good one.
That goes right back to indigenous teachings about the land and the earth and all of that. We sort of were to go back to that kind of thinking, that's where that would lead us. I think that's great.
Yeah, and just continue to take a look at your relationship with stuff and just notice what it is and how it is, and and when you feel the urge to shop or to accumulate things, just again be more aware of when you're buying and what if it's fulfilling another need or if it's really on purpose. And yeah, it says explore new sources of happiness, become a student of happiness, and truly find out what brings you joy, engagement, and really true meaning to your life.
Thank you.
And I think that's kind of where spiritual centers come in some way, because they fill those voids too. You begin to find a different meaning to happiness, and I guess I would add prayer to that list, because it really does anchor you and center you and move you. So
good stuff.
Those are my
spiritual
thoughts.
Community, which is the idea of a center,
we got community right here on this show.
So this month we're loving out loud, and we will continue to explore. We'll have some guests, we'll do some fun things, and I just want to say, as I'm loving out loud, how much I truly appreciate our producer, Michael Mangus, Reverend Michael Mangus.
He's pretty cool. We love him.
he is amazing, and he's here every week, and he's so supportive, and he has his own show on Friday nights that you can check out. And I don't say it often enough. I always think after I say, see you later, see you next week. Ugh, I didn't thank Michael. But in my heart, I'm just thanking Michael because he's very patient and loving and good with us. And I think that's it. I'm going to leave you with a quote, unless there's anything else to say. Thank you, John, for coming. Thank you so much for being willing to share your stuff.
I think Sherry just backed me up on my idea of energy. When you have lots of things, you have to take care of them one way or another. That's so true.
Okay. And my quote says, minimalism isn't about removing the things you love. It's about removing the things that distract you from the things you love. By Joshua Becker. So when you get some of that stuff out of the way, then you're able to really align with your passions. So we'll be here being passionate with you all month.
All right. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us on Rockin the Love. We love doing this, and we're happy to be with you. Thank you, John, for joining us and offering
My
your
pleasure.
insights and
Thank
just
you,
being
Sherry
a
Lynn
friendly
and Mona,
face.
for
Yep.
hanging out.
Yeah,
And
thank
anyone
you,
else who didn't
viewers.
let us know you were there. We love you. Have a great week and rock the love, everybody.
Rock the love.